All right, man, what a week. What a week it's been. Look, on paper, the first Descendant should very much be a game that I love. It is a looter shooter with a variety of PvE.
I've been playing this a lot.
Horde mode missions, dungeons, and boss battles, just to name a few. We're grinding for gear. We got cool characters to customize via this mod system. We got the shared open world spaces with other people running around. I mean, this checks a lot of boxes for me, and it's very similar to games that I've sunk a load of time into, including the obvious ones like Warframe, Destiny, and Division. But also, I've enjoyed some of the less popular games people think are bad, like Defiance, Firefall, and Outriders. And I thought I was hoping really that the first Descendant would be another one of those games just to add to my list. But after playing a bunch between the pre-release beta test and now for a few days post-launch, I gotta say, it's just not hitting the mark. I don't love it. I don't hate it either. Well, I do hate parts of it, which we'll get to, but I also think it does a few things quite well, and that's why I'm not surprised there are a lot of people enjoying this game. For starters, like the game.
Yeah, I think the game's good. I mean, it's not like, this game's not a 10, okay? It's not a 10, but it's good.
Gameplay generally feels really good. This notoriously can be difficult for third-person shooters. They tend to lack that sense of impact compared to a lot of first-person shooting games. It's not perfect, no, but I would say that shooting and using abilities is pretty snappy and fairly well done. In fact, I think the highest...
The game, and this matters so much, the game plays well.
The praise that I would give this game, the best thing that it does, is in fact the gameplay feeling good, and that's a big deal. And on a similar note, I think the movement is well done too. At a baseline, every single class has the ability to sprint, double jump, mantle terrain, and then use a grappling hook. The big thing with this game, though, is the fact that it accounts for and carries over momentum. So when you're using your grapple hook, like, you can really fly around the environment. Starting from a sprint, you can jump and then hook onto like any part of the terrain or objects, and then while you're flying towards your target, you've got this horizontal control that lets you slightly move left or right. This allows you to basically launch yourself around the side of your target, carrying that momentum with you, and then you follow that up with a second grapple hook some distance away. I mean, you can really...
It feels good to play. Like, it's really just that simple. It feels good.
Just be flying all over the place. It's just a lot of fun to use, especially when that is coupled with a Descendant who already has built-in mobility, like any leaps or any move speed enhancements. It can just be a whole heck of a lot of fun sprinting and swinging around. Another thing that I've enjoyed is the class design. Like, yes, there are some pretty generic characters, like you got the basic shooter dude bro.
But that's my main. I have him at level 40. What do you mean? No, he's cool. What do you mean?
You got the turret guy, you got the one dude who tosses out grenades, you got Elsa, but then there's characters like Bunny. Now, she's been getting a lot of attention for reasons other than her playstyle, but genuinely, I think she's like one of the coolest design classes that I've played in a looter shooter.
I would agree. If I would play another character, it'd be Bunny.
I'm being serious here. The class is built around the concept of charging up this electric meter and then using it to deal massive area of effect damage. So as you run, you store up this built electricity, and then your various abilities will deal increased damage based on your charge level. So this includes things like lightning emission, which will pulsate AoE damage for every 7 meters you move, or thrill bomb, where you can get an extra burst of AoE damage on call. And then on top of that, after landing from a double jump, you also deal...
By the way, Ajax is better. Like, it just does more damage. It's the best one.
Additional AoE damage. Cool. And then you couple those mechanics with the speed of light ability, which increases your run speed 50%. And the faster you run, the quicker you build up electricity, and then the more frequently you're pulsating those every 7 meter AoE explosions. It's just crazy, dude. You can also couple this with the grapple hook, and for every 7 meters you move while grappling, you will also pulsate additional damage. The end result, like playing this character when all the pieces come together, is you're running around constantly at 150% move speed, then grapple hooking all over the place to get additional bursts of AoE damage every 7 meters you ever move, and then pulsating additional AoE damage on top of that, all while double jumping, because whenever you land, you do more AoE damage, and it's just crazy. Like, it's a real lot of fun, interesting class.
It's a fun class to play, and that's what matters, right? It's fun to play the game.
Design. Then we've got the boss fights that are known as void intercept battles. These I've found varied and interesting. Outside of the fact that every one of them take place in this like single digital arena, I actually thought overall these boss encounters are really good. Interesting mechanics.
Are the boss encounters good? I think that they are. I'm trying to think. I don't like that one dick sucker that teleports and then he does the frozen thing. That's so annoying. I hate that fucking ability. That's the only one that I didndidn't like. Yeah, other than that, the other ones were really fun.
with multiple phases. Even the first couple of boss fights, because you unlock them as you level up. The first few ones can be quite challenging, and it just gets even harder from there. They look cool, they're well animated, and some of them, especially later on, actually really require coordination and effort with your group. I also like the world and
I guess I got lucky, man. Like, I've one-shot every single one of them, pretty much. Like, I think I wiped on, like, there was one that I think his name was like the Destroyer or the Consumer or something, and he would heal. Try hard mode? I will. Did you do Hanged Man? No, that's the last one. I haven't done him yet.
Environments, it kind of reminds me a bit of Anthem or Skyforge, if
Devour?
you ever played that heap. Another bad
heals.
game that I enjoyed. Lots of cool looking like ancient structures and ruins. They got the sci-fi twist all throughout, and they're in these varied settings and locations. You've got,
Story
like,
in this game
mountainous regions
sucks.
with the European-inspired architecture, deserts with lots of craggy rocks and metallic industrial buildings, foggy forests that remind me a lot of like the Pacific Northwest area of the U.S. I mean, all around, it's a cool play space. There's cool structures, a cool setting, maybe a tad generic feeling at times, but overall, I enjoyed moving around this world. Top of that too, I think the graphics are pretty solid. Like the launch update, I think it looks good. The game ran really well for me. And then just finally, like I do like the general structure of the game, right? So you got those shared open world spaces. I've always been a fan of this, running around, fighting enemies, doing quests, and then just having random people show up and all of a sudden you're working together to complete this one objective. It's a lot of...
I think the open world objectives in this game function extremely well. And whenever you think about them in terms of like how well do they play, right? Is there friction? There is almost no friction in making them, right? It's never like somebody joins and like ruins your run. I actually think it's very well designed.
Fun. You go around the world from one quest marker to another, you then clear the zone, and then at the end you basically get what is a dungeon run. You finish that, you move on to the next zone.
The early level dungeons are trash. The later ones in the game are really cool, but the early ones are literal trash. I think they fucked up with this. They should have made better dungeons at the early game. I think you're going to have people thinking they're boring, and they're not going to get to the late game because of it.
And that's the progress through this game, interwoven with some story. On
the
top
balls
of
are
that,
stupid.
You can do
They're
void
so
intercept
stupid.
battles in between. They're actually required as you progress, as well as things like special operation missions for grinding resources and materials. And then you're also working on your character. You're equipping new weapons when they come up. You're playing with your mods, tinkering your build via that system, enhancing it through other means. And hey, if you like grindy loot games, this is a grindy loot game. There's a lot of different things to grind, especially those 1 to 3% drop chance items you need to unlock certain Descendants and weapons. But that's another story, which we will get to here in a second. But yeah, as I said, there's plenty I think this game does well. I should enjoy the first Descendant. This video should be, dude, I'm hyped. This game's awesome. I love it. But I don't. And there's a few reasons why. For starters, many of the issues that I had back in early beta tests have persisted through long.
Here's one issue. I don't know if he's going to bring this up. I don't think you get enough purple ammo. And I think that if you got more purple ammo, the game would be more fun. I just want more purple ammo so I can use that gun more. Because I think it's cool to use the sniper rifle or the rocket launcher. It would just be cool.
And I'm not just going to complain here. I will provide feedback as we move throughout as well. So there's some smaller things. Like for one, there's just a lot of rough edges around this game. Things like animation, sound effects, even like the ambient noise. None of this struck me as particularly good. I think this stuff, it's just a little rough. Also the dialogue. I mean, this is just flat out bad. Like it's not... The VL, the dialogue is not...
I skipped the story for this game. What I understand... So basically, think about a Korean version of the... This is the way the story is. This is my understanding of the story. Is that... So the Zack Snyder Justice League with Darkseid. Imagine that, but it's this game and it's Korean. That's literally it.
Not good. Also pretty sure it's not synced up with mouth movement unless I was having a stroke the entire time I was playing this game. Also, the game feels kind of stiff across the board. It's a little harder to pin this one down. I can't really find the exact words, but I would just say something about the way like the characters and enemies move, NPC animations. There's like a lack of natural feel to it all. Just not fluid enough.
I think that he's right if you compare it to a game like Remnant 2. I would say Remnant 2 is superior in every single way in terms of combat to this game.
maybe just not enough to those animations, not enough
Destiny?
keyframes. Is
See, I
that a
haven't played
word for
Destiny.
it? I don't know, but
Hard
is
for me to
any of
say.
this game breaking? No, not really, but again, it is what I would call rough around the edges. Simple fix here, continue polishing the game, work on this stuff, improve it as time goes on with patches. Easy, right? The biggest hangups for me, though, I don't know if they're going to address these, but maybe we'll see. Okay, so the open world, it still feels lifeless. This was the case in the beta. People told me it was addressed and they fixed it. I've not really seen that in the past 3 days while playing. Fact is, if you or someone in the instance of the zone that you're in hasn't started a quest, there's just absolutely nothing happening in these open zones. There's nothing going on.
The reason and the problem is that the amount of people that can be in the zone is very low. You need to have more people in the zone at one time, right? It's like you could have 10 zones with 50 people or 50 zones with 10 people. It's better to have 10 zones with 50 people because it feels better. If the game can run that, that's just infinitely better.
You're not seeing roaming packs of NPCs, not even static groups taking hold in locations. There's no dynamic events occurring, no puzzles to solve. There's no wildlife running around, those little flourishes that really add to a game feeling alive and full. Literally nothing.
That's a really good point he's bringing up. Everything that he's saying here, I totally agree with. He's right. It feels too theme parky.
Is happening on these maps. It's all just flat, dead landscape. And I don't mean flat like technically flat. I just mean like it's like flatline. It just feels dead unless someone has started a quest. The world only populates with objectives, with enemies, with events if you, or like I said, another player in your instance, if someone starts a mission at those static markers, that then will spawn in specific enemies and objectives for a mission. Whereas, for example, take a look at Destiny. This game gets compared to that a lot. Whenever you go into a zone in Destiny, the entire zone is full of activity from the start. Things are happening. NPCs are holding up locations. There are packs roaming.
Yeah, it feels dynamic. Like, this is cool.
Around. You got public events constantly going off. And then if a player starts the mission equivalent in Destiny, if a player starts a patrol in Destiny, that then adds another layer on top of what already feels like a vibrant lived-in world. Recommendation for the first Descendant, populate the world. Fill it with stuff beyond what happens when someone begins a mission. Also, I would say visually, I thought
100% true. Like, the best thing that First Descendant has is roaming packs of 4 like non-elite mobs, and then you kill them and they don't drop anything. That's their open world. It's bad.
The play space in the...
Here's the thing, this game isn't Destiny, it's the First Descendant. Really? So you're saying that they're not the same game? Thanks. I don't think we knew that. So yeah, that insight really changes the way that we're going to look at things.
World feels
Thank you very
a bit
much.
sparse, and specifically I'm talking about the amount and the density of things in the environment, things like foliage and trees and buildings. It just all feels a little light, and also the scaling's a little weird. It kind of makes the game feel a little dated, despite the fact that it does graphically look pretty good. Recommendation here, fill the play space so it feels less like a diorama and more like a living video game world that we're moving through. My second major problem with the game right now has been the quest design is just straight up boring. I'm really...
What do you mean? You don't like doing the same quests for the entire game? There's like 7 different quests that are in the game, and you just do those 7 quests in different areas. I don't know if I can go this far. Can I go this far? Can I say that New World had more diversity in quest design? Can I say that? I feel like it's not too far away. I mean, maybe not. Like, it's close.
Specifically honing in on the pacing here. So as you play through the game, like I mentioned, you're moving through zones, going from one quest marker to another. You complete them all, you do a little dungeon, and then you move on to the next zone. Maybe you got to go back to town, but that's the general flow. Every quest you do, no matter the zone that you're in, it's all like the same 4 things. They're either saying kill things, defend a location, collect stuff and bring it back, or capture a location, static or moving.
Get the
every
balls.
single quest in the
Collect
game,
balls.
in every single zone, boils down to these 4 things. Now, this is pretty standard stuff, right? This isn't unique to the First Descendant. Most MMOs, most looter shooters, quests boil down to those 4 basic things. My biggest issue is the pacing is very, very bad. It's too slow. While you're playing, for starters, everything dies incredibly fast as you're going through that initial progression. This changes as you move into the harder modes and as you play higher level.
This guy was such a fucking dick sucker. I hated this piece of shit. I was here for like 30 minutes. Oh my god. Like, I really hope he brings up the boss design. These balls, bro, the game would be instantly better if they just took away every instance of the balls. Because there's 3 different versions, right? There's kill all of the balls at the same time, kill the balls in the order that they spawned, or kill the balls and there's a rotating immunity barrier for the balls. It's too many fucking balls. The mechanic sucks. Get rid of it. It's 1,000 times better whenever the boss does the next phase and he summons a bunch of ads. You have to kill all the ads before you can damage the boss. That's fun. The balls are not fun.
Like the horde mode missions, things aren't dying very quickly, but as you're going through the zones, there's just so much downtime. You're killing things instantly, and there's so much downtime between respawns, between timers counting down, between things moving. The results of which, frankly, was just unengaging and a lot of time just standing around feeling pretty bored because there wasn't anything to do. We were just waiting for a timer to tick down. A group of enemies would show up, we would one-shot them like in less than 5 seconds, and then we would be standing there waiting another 20 or 30 seconds for respawn.
I think the reason why that happens is because the quests are being designed for 1 person, but up to 4 people can do them. Because whenever I played solo, I almost never had a ton of downtime.
So my recommendation here would be to up the pacing of enemy spawns. I think that would go a long way. You don't even have to make like enemies way harder while you were leveling up. I understand like leveling is face roll in a lot of games.
There's no dynamic
right?
scaling. And I don't think that there should be dynamic scaling, by the way.
The process, the hard part doesn't come to endgame. If you want to keep a face roll, fine, but like increase the density of monsters or the frequency of spawns or something, so that we're just spending less time just like standing there, just staring around in space. Like I don't.
So scale it to the number of players? No, they should do no scaling at all. It's cheesy. It's cheesy gameplay, and it makes it to where like adding in scaling or multipliers when you have other people in the group. What that does is it teaches you to resent the other people you're playing with.
It just really made it unengaging. And along those same lines, the boss design everywhere outside of those void intercept battles, which I think are good, the boss design everywhere else is really bad. I'd like it to introduce you to the first Descendant's boss design philosophy. We call it the 3 orbs philosophy. Take any boss, doesn't matter what its faction is, how it looks, what sort of weapons or skill it has. Take that boss, break its health bar into 3 to 4 sections, and then make them invulnerable every time players break through one of those sections until they destroy the 3 floating orbs. Either destroy them outright, or destroy them in a particular order, or destroy them all at the same time. 3 orbs.
And by the way, there's no intuitive explanation that that's what's happening. Like, now that I've played the game for a long time, I understand that's what to do. But for a new player, that's not really explained. It's not, like, how you can't intuit that. And even if you can, if there's one person in your group that can't, they're going to fuck up the entire group. And whenever you create pug systems, and then you add in points of failure that one person can trigger, you are creating a recipe for frustration. That's it. It's just fucking annoying. The 3 orbs is so shit, they're all shit. If they took the balls out of the game would instantly be better. Straight up, it would instantly be better. Also, I will even go farther. All of the boss fights are also formulaic. Every boss fight, damage the boss, kill the ads, deal with the immunity phase mechanic, kill the boss, kill the ads, deal with the immunity phase mechanic. It's the exact same.
Invulnerable boss, kill those orbs, done. 90% of the boss encounters in the game. Like, I couldn't believe it. After like my 100th boss of seeing this exact mechanic, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Just make the 3 orbs. That was their design philosophy outside the void intercept battles, because those are really
No. Later on in the game, you get up to, hey guys, get this. 5 orbs.
Really cool. My next big thing, and this is a real sticking point here, is that just so blatantly obvious, and this is the case in a lot of grind games, but it feels especially so here. Progression is just clearly artificially stretched out to try to push us towards the cash shop. There's no doubt here with the things like the 24-hour build timers. Gee, I would like to skip those. Oh, I can buy doing that? Great. Or the fact that you've got those a lot of those enhancement materials that you really need for progression, the activators and exchangers and more. Or you got the 1 to 3% drop rates when trying to farm the materials materials needed for this stuff.
I don't have a problem with 1 to 3% drop rates, and I don't really care a lot about this, to be honest with you, because the game is free. If the game wasn't free, I would complain about it. But overall, I don't really think it's that bad, but it's not good either.
Which can take players, I don't know, I've seen people saying like upwards of 100 or so hours. I don't have a lot of feedback for this part of the thing, this artificial inflation of progression pushing you towards the monetization. Don't really have feedback here because, let's be honest, this is all done on purpose. This is the repetitive nature of especially free-to-play games, especially free-to-play MMO lights or MMOs. Games are made worse to sell you the solution, right? You've heard that time and time again.
That's fucking right. They shit on you, so you buy an umbrella.
That is absolutely the case here. And that leads me to the final thing that I want to talk about, monetization. Now, I'm not going to run through all of the numbers. Plenty of people have already done that. Let me just put it this way. It's like they took inspiration from Warframe. You hear people saying, it's just like Warframe, it's just like Warframe. No. It's like they took the inspiration from Warframe in terms of how they're monetizing the different aspects of the customization progression. Like, yes, there's very...
Which, to be fair, everything that I've heard about fans of Warframe is that the monetization in that game is problematic in some cases, but it is generally accepted.
There are a lot of similarities, direct parallels you can draw between Warframe and the first Descendant. But it's like they said, okay, we'll take that baseline. How can we make this worse while simultaneously making more money?
Making more money. There it is.
That right there pretty much covers exactly how they've monetized this game. Here's some examples, right? Buying Descendants requires you purchasing 2 bundles of premium currency because the Descendants cost slightly more than what a single bundle of premium currency gives you. This is a tried and true...
Has this ever happened before? Really? No way.
Anti-consumer premium currency conversion tactic. You sell bundles that reward barely less than what it is you know people are going to want to buy. It's scummy. It's always scummy. It's scummy here as well. Or you got the armor dyes that are single use. Like, at least in Warframe, when you purchase a color palette.
Why? New World did this same fucking shit. Why the fuck would you make a dye single use? What a bunch of garbage.
You can use it as much as you like, whenever, however many frames you're trying to customize, whatever parts of it you want to customize. But in this game, you buy one dye, you customize one part, the dye is gone.
So
you lost
stupid.
it. The paint can ran out just like that. Then there's just the fact that aspects of the grind itself put even Warframe to shame, at least for certain things. And I think the big one that a lot of people you've seen pointing out is the fact that ultimate characters require you to farm missions with 3% drop reward chances for the part that you want in order for you to even be able to make that ultimate character. If you're not familiar...
Opinion, I don't think that's a problem. I think it's a problem if you can pay to skip it, though. If you couldn't pay to skip that, and you had to sit through it and farm to 3%, hey man, like, listen, like, how many mounts do I have in WoW? I hear 3%, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's easy. That's pretty good. Because, like, that's how much plates and palladium, I think it's what's called, in Monster Hunter is for a lot of rare materials. 3%, it's like, oh yeah, just do that like maybe 10 times, 20 times, maybe get it. Yeah, it's nothing.
With Warframe or the first Descendants, both games have versions of the characters, the playable classes that are just like,
that's good.
There's the base version and then the ultimate version, which is just a better iteration of that, right? So people want the ultimate one because it's the base one, but just better, flat out.
Oh, by the way, somebody brings up a good point. Nexon 3%, I know what you're talking about. Nexon lost a lawsuit for artificially reducing drop rates for things in order to get people to spend more money. So kind of ironic, right?
If you're trying to farm that for free, you're
looking
at repeating missions over and over again with as low as a 3% drop rate.
Do you
that's
recommend
very
the
low.
game?
Let me just tell you, that's very low. Or there's the doubling your mod capacity, and this is one of the biggest sources of power in both games, in Warframe and in the First Descendant. However, in First Descendant, the equivalent of the Warframe version, it's 20 times more expensive. Real world money only, by the way, for doing this. That's the only way you can double your mod capacity. Also, one big note and omission that hasn't been...
You receive a few of them from playing the game. I think 2 of them. But other than that, yes, that's true.
Included in a lot of this conversation is the fact that Warframe allows for trading, so you can get these things that cost premium currency in Warframe by trading with other players. No such thing exists in the First Descendant. People will often reference the fact that Nexon has promised they will eventually look at possibly adding trading in the future.
They should have trading 100%. It's not even a question. Every game should have trading. If you think that pay to win is an issue, or like people like RMT is an issue, then get rid of your fucking store. Don't pretend like you care about the integrity of the game. Oh, we don't want people buying and selling things in the game. You're the one that's doing it. Yes. Let people trade whatever they want with no restrictions. That's my perspective.
Exactly, be completely putting our trust in Nexon for a reason we'll get to right here. In general, the game's monetization model revolves around having, like I said, really long grinds for stuff that you are likely to want, and then selling you the means of skipping that grind conveniently in the cash shop, with a low % chance for drop rate just being one example, one means of doing that. And that's also if you can even trust Nexon's stated drop rate. Hint.
Here we go. He knows about it.
You can't, or you shouldn't put full confidence in it, because I'd like to remind you, if you were unaware as well, a mere 6 months ago, Nexon was fined $9 million by the Korean FTC. Why? Well, because after an investigation, it was revealed that Nexon was essentially scamming customers for over a decade. So it's been known for a while.
By the way, I don't think that I think the FTC should have given Nexon $9 million. Because if you're still playing MapleStory in this year, I think you deserve it. You deserve it. That's what you get.
By people who play their games, that Nexon has some of like the worst monetization, some of the most anti-consumer monetization practices in the industry. Nexon games have been known for.
Nexon even has patents for bad monetization. Like they are innovators in the space.
For that, it's not unheard of prior to this whole $9 million fine debacle. But this story was on a whole nother level. So the TLDR of the situation is this. Nexon sold in MapleStory what are essentially loot boxes that reward players this powerful stat boost. So you would purchase and open these items called cubes, and when you opened it, you would get a random chance and rewarded.
I had a girl that she spent over $10,000 on this game, and it was just on the fucking cosmetics mainly. Crazy.
Multiple boost in power for your character. Well, there was a particular combination of outcomes that most players wanted from these cubes. Basically, it was a really strong boost that pretty much benefited everybody. It's a lot of the reason. It is what fueled a lot of these cube purchases. People wanted this one particular outcome for a powerful stat boost for their character. It turns out, in their investigation, the Korean FTC learned that for a time, over the course of a decade, that reward that people were essentially gambling on to get, that was never possible. The thing that many people wanted, that most powerful outcome of these cubes, could never be obtained. You could buy 1 billion cubes, and within this window of time, the probability of getting it was.
That sounds like a bug, to be fair. I think it's probably
actually zero.
Purpose,
that is
right?
crazy.
No
and
way.
that is exactly why they got fined $9 million, or the equivalent of $9 million, because this was in Korea. Also, if you're curious, none of that money went back to the customers, by the way. Wow, what a surprise.
For 10 years? No, I mean, was it happening for 10 years straight, or did it just happen within a period of 10 years? I mean, that sounds crazy. It's not a bug? I don't know. I mean, hey, listen. Even if this didn't happen, I still wouldn't completely trust them. I'm just saying, like, it just sounds so outrageous they would even do that.
And hey, it's a free-to-play game.
Crazy.
They got to make money somehow. Of course, I am not saying that. I'm not saying they shouldn't be charging money for anything in this game, right? I don't expect games to just be free. In fact, my dream world is that free-to-play model vanishes, and we go back to box prices, and we get rid of all this other garbage that's been pulled from the game, stripped from the games. These games being made worse for them to sell us the solution. That would be my dream.
True.
That dream ain't ever happening because I'm not delusional. I understand we're not going back to that. I also understand lowering the barrier to entry and free to play. It is a boon for a lot of people, and it brings a lot more players to the game, and it maybe has more. Certainly has more people playing the game than would otherwise. Whatever the reason, right? A free to play game means more access for more people for the game, and that is a good thing. But I will say, there are ways of doing free-to-play monetization and not having it feel like you're making the base game demonstrably worse to try to shove me into the cash shop. And as I said, it's really to me, it seems like they took the base structure, they took the idea of how Warframe monetizes their game, and they just said, how can we make this even worse and make more money off these people? Couple that with Nexon just being fresh off of getting the largest fine that the Korean FTC has ever given out in their whole history. Because
it sounds like they got to up those numbers. I bet they made way more than $9 million from fucking this up. That's crazy. You should find them $90 million.
as they were scamming customers out of money, basically. That leaves my trust in the company doing the right thing, being consumer friendly in any of their decisions and how they're designing and monetizing this game and tying the design of the game and the grind of the game into the monetization. My trust of them doing that by the books, it ain't very high. It was only 6 months ago they got fined $9 million. Not super confident.
Yeah, it's not like,
that they're doing fine by
I've changed.
us, right? And that they've got our best interest in
mind. Who knows?
Not that any games company does, right? But look, with all of that said, I have no doubt that there are people enjoying this game right now, and they will be in the future. I'm one of them. It's just not me. Like, for all the things that I do like.
Yeah, I'm one of them. I'm playing this game right now. I'm enjoying it quite a bit. I finished the campaign. I hit max level. I'm thinking about prestiging my character. I've leveled up my weapon. I've got my level 100 weapon, legendary weapon. I'm going to probably try to get legendary armor today. Yeah, I've been playing it a lot. But these problems that he's bringing up are legitimate. They are real. Shroud? Yeah, I've been watching Shroud playing it. Well,
about the game, and that was a long list. That was probably like a third of what this whole video's runtime is going to be. I do like things about this, but I dislike just enough that right now I've got zero motivation to keep playing, and that's not what I was hoping for this week. I know people say, "Well, you're just a rage baiter YouTuber. You're just being contrary. You're just trying to be negative. You're just trying to hate." Look at my channel. I tell you, I love and want nothing more than to just be gushing about games. And as I mentioned, I love this genre. There are a lot of what I would consider, or what people probably consider bad games. Games like Outriders, games like Defiance, games like Firefall. Maybe a lot of you haven't even heard of those games, right? But I enjoyed them. And I was kind of hoping that this was going to be it. Despite the Nexon tie-in, I was hoping that this game was going to do it. But it just really hasn't. It really hasn't. I felt bored after just a couple of days. I felt that way after a couple days in the beta, and then the second beta test that I played, and now at launch, it's the same thing. And really, ultimately, I think that problem boils down to the poor pacing of the quest design and the game's world, and that's all beyond the microtransaction discussion. Honestly, the game just feels like a worse version of Warframe, Division, or Destiny. Like a lot of games developed.
Makes me pretty excited to play Destiny. I hear that, because I've enjoyed this game. That's fucking great. That's cool. I'm glad. Yeah, I've been having fun playing this.
By Nexon, it's not the worst out there, but it's also far from the best. Oftentimes what they do is they'll make games that are just good enough to get people in the door, get them hooked on some sort of progression loop, and then do everything in their power to get them swiping. But hey, I get it. It's a free game. If you want to check it out, by all means. If you like grinding games,
you can play it free to play.
This is one that you can play, and you can grind, and I'm all for that. I play grind. I play AR.
Based off of my limited understanding of the game, I think this game punishes you less than like a gacha game for like not paying to win. Like I feel like you miss out on less.
RPGs. I play MMOs. I like this genre generally, except for this
limited perspective.
So I get it, and there's something to there being a new thing for people to check out, and that in itself can be valuable to people. But I'll also say there are better grinding games that you could play, and that I think would be just. I think just it would be time better spent. I'm going to keep my eye on this one, right? This one could get better, and I get why people like it, but right now, nah, it's not for me. I spent more than enough of my time with this game already. I am all done. But by all means,
played it a lot in the
beta. That is all for today. Thank you as always for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys next time.
Well, here's the truth. I've been playing the game a lot myself. I've really enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it pretty much the whole time that I've been playing it. There's the video right there. Make sure to give it a like. Obviously, I think that his criticisms and everything are incredibly valid. They are extremely valid, but I am still enjoying the game at this current point in time. Whenever I hit that wall, that honeymoon phase wears off, I'll talk about it. He's played the game more than I have because he played the beta and everything like that. And both of the closed beta tests, etc. I did that just for like a day and a half, right? So he's probably more burnt on it than I have. He's played it more. But for me, I'm still enjoying it. I hope I keep enjoying it. I've gotten into hard mode now. I've been playing it more. And I just hope that I hope it stays fun, man. I do. So yeah, and I think that all of these criticisms, if you're enjoying the game, don't take this personally. I think everything that he's saying is right. He's right about everything that he's saying, but I can still enjoy the game and find it fun. And you know what's really great about this is that tomorrow Once Human is coming out, and it won't even fucking matter, because I think Once Human is going to be better than the first Descendant. I think it will be. Now, I'm a fucking loser, so I'm just going to play both of the games. So it's not a big deal. But yeah, tomorrow is going to be huge. I have to do my podcast today. I'm already, on the edge of being late. So I'm going to link you guys the video. Make sure to give it a like. I watch a lot of Forces videos. So yeah, I will be back on tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be a really big day. Once Human comes out, I think it comes out at 4 or something like that. I'm going to play it all day. Play it all day as much as I can. And we're going to go hard on it. And we're going to make a hive. That's what guilds are called in there. And we're going to have some fun, man. Is Once Human free? I don't know if it is. But if it's not, it's worth the money. Unless it's like $70, right? Then maybe wait for a sale. But if it's not like a AAA price, then yeah, it's a good fun game. It is free? Yeah. And there was no pay to win inside of the iterations that were in the beta test, right? So we'll hopefully see that won't happen. I don't know, but there were some issues that seemed very, very specific, right? So yes, guys, thank you all very much for watching. I really appreciate it. I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, boys. Peace. See ya.